So what I'm going to talk about today is the herd mentality of the mass of bewilderbeasts, the normies. And one of the things that they do is that they're quite happy to take what is self-evidently a work of fiction and then turn it into an imaginary fact. So just to kind of make sure I evade censorship here, let's talk about a hypothetical example. So I get the impression these days somebody could invent an imaginary disease that doesn't exist and give it enough publicity, and people will choose to do a live action role play, let's play doctors and nurses, and turn this thing that's imaginary into a fake fact. You've heard me talk about, I went on holiday recently to Tenerife, and I saw, there must have been about 5 or 6 of these guys, Ukrainian blokes in their 20s, really big athletic guys, playing volleyball. I knew they were Ukrainians because they had all like Ukrainian kind of like branded kit on and stuff. It was an international volleyball competition. So I thought they're supposed to be at war, and then today I was watching a video on YouTube, and basically this guy was explaining how in the Ukraine they're building loads and loads of ski resorts, and it's very common for people to go skiing in this, war-torn country. So what I'm getting at here is that whole thing about the Ukraine war, it's LARPing, it's fake, but people are quite happy to pretend that something that is quite self-evidently fake is actually real. So we've got this phenomenon then of fiction being passed off as fact. Another great example is this Netflix flick thing. I've never watched it, don't have Netflix, never will, but keep on seeing it on see people commenting about it. This program Adolescence. It's a work of fiction, but then you've got the likes of, I don't know, James O'Brien on LBC, and tons and tons of schools, head teachers, senior managers of schools, showing this work of fiction to their school children, passing it off as a fact that we're supposed to draw some very, very important lessons on the basis of fiction. And basically you've actually got somebody, it's dangerous because it's demonizing white Christian males, white Christian boys, that somehow they're accusing somebody of something that somebody hasn't done, and they're attributing a problem that doesn't exist to a particular racial group of people, and we're supposed to learn lessons, very important lessons, on the basis of something that never even happened. So I think there's an element here of mass formation psychosis, that there seems to be a critical mass. Britain is slipping back into mass formation psychosis. That's what I think I'm observing, in that there seems to be an awful lot of people who are willing to embrace this lie and pretend that it's real when it's not. And again, I think the other way of looking at this is it's a test of humanity again. Are you going to be complicit in acting out a lie? Are you going to take part in this live action role play for social approval points? And I think there's many people, particularly school teachers, who were prepared to go along with this, like showing this program to young people and pretending that it's something that it's very important because, well, it's not a fact, is it? So how can it be important when it's a work of fiction? It's mind-boggling. It's kind of like mental illness en masse. So something else I was thinking about today is, do you remember Shakespeare wrote a play called The Tempest, and in the 1950s it was turned into a Hollywood B movie. It's actually a very, very, very good movie called The Forbidden Planet, and the gist of both of these stories, of both of these works of fiction, is that human beings can invent imaginary monsters that don't exist. And in response to these monsters that don't exist, human beings can actually create the very thing that previously didn't exist. They can create an awful outcome as a result of reacting to something that never even existed. You know, your desire to protect yourself against a monster that doesn't exist creates that very monster, and it creates a catastrophe for people. People lose their lives or have their lives destroyed as a result of this kind of paranoia over something that never even existed in the first place. Yeah, and I think that's definitely what's going on now in the UK. So the monster in this case is white Christian boys, and they're just normal British people. They're the monster, and it's a fake monster that doesn't exist. And what they're going to do, what Keir Starlin and all the rest of these kind of his like low-level minions, Marxists masquerading as teachers, is that they're going to create some pretty awful outcomes via indoctrination masquerading as education in British schools. The most obvious one is divide and rule, race baiting, and this is what they want, isn't it? They want civil war. They want us to turn on each other, and we mustn't allow that to happen. And also, the other thing that we must do is start calling out these things. This is a lie. This is fiction. Why are you pretending that this work of fiction is a fact when it's not? This is pathetic. This is childlike. And I'm not going to take any part in this. And I'm going to call this out. So if there are any teachers watching this, and you're working in a school that's thinking of showing this program to young people, you need to stand up in your staff meeting and say, not on my watch. This is wrong. Why are you showing this program to young people, demonizing somebody for a crime that was never even committed by that person? It's fiction. And that's all I want to say today. So stand up for what's right, and God bless.